look at is bisecting a line segment. We're going to do some constructions here. And if I just showed you the notes on this, if I just threw some notes up there, you'd go, what is that? So this is it's an activity as much as notes. So we're going to take this thing and we're going to use it as a straight edge and a compass, and that's all. We're not going to measure with inches or centimeters or anything. What I want you to do is I want you to take and start by making a line of some length, not too long. It's not important that all of our lengths be the same. It just needs to be of some length. Okay? So make a line. I'm going to put some points on the end so they're real obvious. Okay? Now, what does it mean to bisect? Does anybody know? What do you think, Helen? We talked about this. If I bisect Evan, right? How do I have to cut Evan? Right, from the top to the bottom, right? Down the middle, not sideways. Right. Okay. So bisecting means that I'm going to split it in half, and we're going to have equal parts. Now I'm just going to kind of lightly draw a line here that I think is about in the middle. And I'll probably be pretty close. But I'm going to use that to help me with actually finding the line in the middle. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the eye, this is the eye, and I'm going to put it right on the end of one of the dot on the end of one of my dots. Okay? And I'm going to make sure that this is adjusted so that one of these two, or both of them, or whichever one you're going to use, is a little bit past the line that we think is in the middle. It doesn't have to be way past it, but it has to be beyond half. And then I'm going to take and I'm going to strike an arc going from the bottom down here up and over to the top, about like so. So I made sure that my arc was a little bit past center, and I also made sure that it was long enough that it's going to go over and below what I think center is. Now, don't make any adjustments to this. You got to keep it exactly the same, so don't adjust it. So if you've made a change, you got to go back and figure out, you got to get it back onto that spot. So once you've got that arc, we're going to take and put the eye on the other point. And what I really want to do is I want to cross this arc in two spots. I'm going to cross the arc in two spots. So we'll see if I can do this left-handed here. So I'm putting the eye on there. I'm going to use the same hole. I'm going to cross the arc like this. And if you're trying to do this in a binder, you're probably going to find some trouble. You really need to do this on a piece of paper outside of the binder. It doesn't work real well in the binder. Now, this distance here and this distance here are equal. If I take now and I take my straight edge here and I connect these intersections, I have now bisected the line. So I was close with my guess there, but I was a little bit off. So I'm going to erase my first. So now if I go here and I measure this, that's going to be about 2.7 centimeters from the point to the end there. And if I measure here, I'm about 2.7. So I've bisected the line. I've got two pieces that are now equal. When you're doing constructions, you do not erase your work unless you've made a mistake and you're changing it. If I gave you a test question, which I will, but not till the next module, saying bisect the line segment, and you bisect it and then erase all the construction marks, I can't give you any credit for that. So you have to leave your construction marks. They're the evidence of your work. Okay? Does that make sense? So it is your work. Okay, so let's try another one. We want to bisect an angle. So the next construction is going to be bisecting an angle. So the first thing we have to do to bisect an angle is we have to start with an angle. So I'm going to take and draw an angle. Don't make it too small. It makes it way too much work for you. Make an angle. I'm going to make mine acute. And it doesn't matter how wide or not wide the angle is, but if you make it too narrow, if it's a real small angle, it's going to be hard to do. And if it's a real big angle, it's probably going to be kind of hard to do. So just make an angle. Pretty good sized angle. What does it mean to bisect an angle, though? What do you think? What does it mean to bisect? Reagan? Yeah, cut it in half. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a line that splits this angle in half right about through here. And the first thing I'm going to start with is I'm going to take my tool. In fact, I'm going to make my point on my end real obvious, real dark here. Okay? And I'm going to put the eye on my vertex, on the point. And now I'm going to adjust this so that I can strike an arc that goes across both lines of the angle. Like so. Now, what have I done? I have 2 points where the line and the arc, the part of a circle, intersect, and the distance from the vertex here and the distance from the vertex here are exactly the same. So I've put a couple of points on the angle that are exactly the same distance from the vertex, from the angle. That's important. Now, I'm going to take my tool and I'm going to use these 2 points as the center for the eye. I'm going to start with the top one, put the center of the eye, and I'm going to adjust this kind of like up here where I adjusted it to go more than half. I'm going to adjust it so that it goes beyond halfway between these points. How much more? It doesn't really matter, but it has to be more than halfway. So I'm going to make mine so that it's quite a bit past halfway. And I'm going to strike an arc out here into space, like that. Okay? So from this point, I struck an arc out into space. Okay. Now, I'm going to do the same thing from the other point that I created right here. And what I really want to do is I want to cross that first arc. If I make an adjustment to my measurement, then I'm going to be out of luck. So this distance and this distance are the same. It's like the spoke of a wheel. So now I've got a new point. All I have to do now is connect the vertex to that new point out in space there. And I have split the angle into 2 equal parts. This is almost fun, isn't it? Almost. Let's not take it too far, right? Okay. What's that? Yeah, it is. Okay, so we've got bisecting an angle down. Everybody with me? Next, let's copy a line. So what do I have to do to copy a line?
Excuse this interruption, but at this time, our boys golf team is released. At this time, just our boys golf team. Thank you, and good luck, boys.
I'm making a line of no particular distance. I'm just drawing a line. Doesn't matter what angle the line is or anything. Just draw a line of some length on your paper. If you make it too short, it's kind of hard to work with. But, you know, a couple inches or something along that line is just fine. Okay. Now, a line is, in this case, this line is a segment, right? Because if we copy a line, then it goes on forever and ever, and I can't really do that. So I'm copying a line segment. So I'm just going to start with a point. Now, I need to measure this line, but I can't use this scale. I'm not going to use inches or centimeters or anything like that. I can't use the scale. That's cheating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my eye on this point, and I'm going to adjust this so that one of my others is right on the point there. So I'm measuring the distance with my tool. Okay. And I'm actually going to leave a mark so that I know, so that the person that's following me knows what I did. So I'm going to actually just strike a little arc right there. Okay. That shows that, hey, I've measured that distance. And now all I have to do is I have to go over here and I have to, using the same measurement, strike just a little mark, little arc somewhere. The angle of the line isn't important. I don't have to match the angle. So all I have to do now is connect that first point to anywhere on that arc. And I have two lines that are, for all intents and purposes, the same length. Okay? And let's see, there is one more for today. Copy a line. That's easy, yeah, copying a line. Probably the bisector of the angle is the hardest one so far. So if we can copy a line, I wonder if we can also copy an angle. And again, we need to start with an angle. So we want to make an angle somewhere on the paper. I'm going to make mine acute, less than 90. I think you probably should think about something along that line as well. Make it reasonably large. It doesn't have to be huge, but reasonably large. I'll mark that point there. It's going to be important. Now, when I drew these lines, I didn't draw them with any intent to make them the same length. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't, but I certainly didn't measure them, right? I just drew them, and so should you. So we need to break them up into pieces that are the same length. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to focus on my eye on the point there, and I'm going to adjust this in a little ways so that I can mark across both legs of that angle. Okay? So I've got now some new points where that arc intersects, where this and this are the same length. Right? They're both radii of a circle. It's like the spoke of a wheel. And now I'm going to go over here. I don't want to change this. I want to save my measurement in here. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to start with a line. And this is going to be the point of my angle. and I'm going to copy this arc. So I have to draw the arc up high enough where I'm going to capture this other line. If you don't draw that up far enough, when you measure this, you're going to run into some problems. I think I've got mine up far enough, I hope. Okay? Is everybody with me at this point? All right, so the next step is we're going to measure between these two. Now, I can't use the ruler. I have to use this. So I'm going to put the point, actually, I'm going to highlight this point here with a little red. Highlight that point there with a little red. Maybe go back over here. Okay. And I'm going to put my point on that dot. And then I'm going to measure this. I'm going to put this to where my center is as close as I can get it to right on that other dot. Okay. Now, how do I show that I've made that measurement? Make a mark, right? Make a little arc. So I'm going to make a little arc here, just a little one. My pen will do it. That pen's not going to do it. Here we go. So I've left a mark there, and this tells the teacher, hey, I measured that. Okay. Is it perfect? No, but it's close enough. Now I come over here, and I put my eye right on that point over here, the red point, and I'm going to make a mark across that arc. That's my new measurement there. So how do I finish this up? Draw the line. Yeah, draw the line. It goes from the vertex through that point. There we go. Okay. Constructions. They're kind of fun, I think. There's definitely some challenging ones. Most of everything that you need to know, not maybe everything, but most everything that you need to know was covered today. There's a couple other constructions that then you could put together an awful lot of stuff. Definitely something I want you to study a little bit.